Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic the Gathering, and we have the spice for you this week. It is Cephalid Breakfast. It is back. And we'll see how it does here versus Dylan on Aggro Loam. Brainstorm in response to a Wasteland, Dylan threatening to set me back. This is a deck with no basic lands, and thankfully that's Sylvan Library and not Life from the Loam to recur those two lands. But he has another Wasteland. It is worth noting this week I am slightly suboptimal with the list, running some Shaman en-Kor instead of the Nomad en-Kor. We'll see if that makes a difference, but I was really committed to actually playing something absolutely just crazy and new. And there it is, the reason to play the deck. He's got to read the card. The Cephalid Illusionist, whenever it becomes targeted, is going to put the top 3 cards of your library into the graveyard. He's actually going to get Abrupt Decayed here, putting it into the bin and breaking up the combo for now. The goal here is going to be to get Cephalid Illusionist along with either Shuko or a en-Kor creature. Wasteland takes out another duel. Knight of the Reliquary joins the effort for Dylan. And we've got a serious clock versus this deck that definitely comes across as a bit goofy, a bit silly, but it is a very real legacy deck. So we'll see what it's able to do here. Can it find a way to win now versus double Knight of the Reliquary? And this is closing out extremely fast. Brainstorm again. Now it is only 3 mana to get this combo together. Now you'll see the deck list in the description. It does also run the Stoneforge Mystic package, so you can go get Batterskull versus the grindy decks or the decks that it's actually good against, or you can go ahead and get Shuko and have that be an enabler, and that's what we see here. Shuko, pick it up. We've got a 2/2 for only 2 mana. How do you beat that? His knights are 5/5s. He's got Grove of the Burn Willows. Punishing Fire. Crowd Control here. Puts me down to 2 very dead 6 ways to Sunday here. Punishing Fire is going to take me out next turn. Or Knight. It's now or never. Shuko on board. Oh, and there's the Cephalid. The second one is drawn. We're going to get to see it. Here we go. So targeting 3 cards going to the graveyard. There's a Narcomoeba. Just going to go through and see this play out in all its majesty here. There's Nomads en-Kor. Dylan reading that for the first time probably in his life. There's another Narcomoeba. There's 3 in the list. There's also the Cabal Therapies in the graveyard. Cabal Therapy in there, of course, to disrupt your opponent, but more importantly, it can actually allow you to get key combo pieces out of your hand, which is what we see here. Lord of Extinction put into the graveyard. Dread Return happens, sacking all 3 guys, and there it is, the Mimeoplasm. And he enters. He's going to exile Lord of Extinction and Murderous Redcap. He is going to come into play as a copy of Murderous Redcap with +1/+1 counters equal to Lord of Extinction's power. And I just got to ask how many cards you have in your graveyard, because I've got about 50. So there it is. Comes in, domes Dylan for 50, and that is game 1 the way God intended it. That is what Richard Garfield had in mind when he created this game. That type of absolute shenanigans. Post board here, going to be able to board into a more reasonable Stoneforge deck. Cards like Swords to Plowshares are going to give good answers to Knight of the Reliquary and other relevant on-board threats. Disenchant looks like it's being considered here as well. And in terms of cards that can come out, the deck actually runs a suite of counter magic. You've got Daze and Force of Will. Force of Will pretty bad in these type of matchups. Aggro Loam doesn't have a ton of cards that you're actually happy to force a will, and this isn't vintage. You don't really recoup the card advantage. In formats that have more explosive card advantage, or even decks that are able to reload, then force a will tends to be fantastic in every matchup. Because you're able to keep your opponent off of their game plan, and the card disadvantage really isn't that big a deal. That's not really the case in Legacy for the most part. Usually when you force a will stuff, you are making a very real trade-off in terms of card advantage, and you don't usually want to do that versus decks that don't have any specific cards that you're really worried about. You're not really worried about Knight of the Reliquary. It's a reasonable clock. It's a relevant threat, but it's not really something that you're happy to force a will. It's not a combo piece that was going to end the game. It's just something that sets a clock, and hopefully you can win before it's actually relevant. That is the better way to answer it, is to just win the game. And here we go. Game 2. Excited to have seen the deck function so well. Game 1 here. And looks like Aether Vial with no lands. That will not do. So the deck does run Aether Vial, mostly as a way of getting around opposing counter magic. Your whole combo is creatures. So you have Aether Vials and Cavern of Souls to kind of sidestep their ability to counter your creatures. Violet 1 and Violet 2. And that leads to a lot of, turn 2 wins. And Leyline of the Void. Dylan, no fun at all. And Containment Priest, so stopping Vial and the Graveyard Shenanigans. And it does look like the deck... so I've got the Cephalid in hand. Going to be a question of actually answering Leyline and Containment Priest. I mean, that's probably not going to happen. Brainstorm here. Dark Confidant really legitimately just threatens to start to close this out. As cute as it is to try and combo, we got to play a game of Magic here, and Dark Confidant absolutely is the right choice there. Get him out of there. And stop Dylan from just burying us in eventual card advantage. Wasteland fires back. Ghost Quarter. No basics. Not a shock. Might jam some basics next week. There's a Aether Vial. Tropical Island. Of course, lets you hardcast Mimeoplasm or the... not the Murderous Redcaps. The Underground Seas can let you do that, and then the Lord of Extinction. Umezawa's Jite. That is a pretty reasonable answer to Containment Priest, so we can get a body on board. This could threaten to take the game over. Vial is ticked up to 2. Once that Containment Priest is gone, that's going to really change the utility of Vial. And Dylan just 4 cards in hand here, so this Cabal Pit. Not amazing. Swords to Plowshares gets him out of there. And Cephalid Illusionist along with a Brainstorm. Abrupt Decay takes it out. Bad sequencing on my part. Pretty sure I should have Brainstormed first. That way, if Dylan does target the Cephalid, it would have gotten rid of the worst cards. So in retrospect, always fun to watch matches that I've played. See some errors there. Looks like Shuko left on top. There's another Cephalid. And looks like some real determination to win with a Cephalid, even though it's not going to be part of a combo. A second Leyline. Dylan's hellbent, and we're about to see this 1/1 Cephalid pick up some equipment and start to go face. There he is. He targets. He mills himself. And it is just 1 damage the first time. But it can be 5 damage moving forward. He's outside of range of that Cabal Pit. Dylan drawing another land. Vile going up to 5. Narcomoeba being cast. Dylan ruined all of the fun, so he thought. Apparently, just as much fun to go full-on draft quality beaters here. Not even. I mean, these are some subpar beaters, let's be honest. Chalice of the Void at 1 is not going to... Oh, Lord of Extinction! Oh, ridiculous. And here we go. He's a 5/5. I don't have a graveyard, but I'll use Dylan's for the count. And there it is. 5, 10, 11 damage. Oh, hilarious. This deck is too much. And it is, in fact, too much here for Dylan. He does some cycling. And he plays a knight. And it's not going to be enough. One of those has got to get through. And he scoops it up before he has to make that type of hard choice. And Cephalid Breakfast taking it down in 2. Did not expect to ever say that on this channel. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.